All right, here we go. Today we are going to go over life. Choose life. We all should know that the life is in the tongue. We can choose life in our very words, and we should choose life with our very words. The problem becomes that a lot of times we choose death because that's all we see, that's all we look at, that's all we pay attention to, that's all we hear on the news, right? We hear, oh man, look at this and look at that, look at this, look at that. And that's all we kind of pay attention to if we're not careful. We find out that the life that we live is, whoa, a stressful one. The life that we're a part of is, wow, right? It's just something else to contend with. But so many people, what the problem is they're not choosing life and they're not standing on the word. And because of many things, they're choosing everything but, right?
Chaim.
Shaim, right? Shaim, life. We all have it in the power of our tongue. The problem is that if we're not careful, we don't use it correctly. We find something, or we go to the doctor and we hear something, or something goes not our way, and we end up with a bad report. We end up with, man, that hurt my feelings. We end up with so much wrong that we just don't know what to do with ourselves, right? So we say, well, man, that just, I don't like that. I don't like what's going on here. I don't like what I'm hearing. So therefore, if we're not careful, since we don't like what we hear, then what do we do about it? Well, we say, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to put up with it. I don't want to live with it. And over time, if we're not careful, people don't want to put up with it, right? They don't want to have all these problems in their life. But I would submit to you right here, right now, you have the power to get a hold of the Creator. His name's Yahweh, and talk with him. Yahweh is my shepherd. I lack nothing. What I'm submitting to you is life. What I'm submitting to you is what the scripture says. And I know it sounds like another TV evangelist almost, that it's too good to be true, but that's what Yahweh says. He wants you to have life and more abundant life. But we have to understand the situation and what we have to do. And yes, you have to do something. A lot of people don't think they have to do nothing, and they never get healed. And they take pill and this and that and all these things because they don't know the path of life. They don't know the words of life. So therefore, they never find life, and they never find abundant life. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. I know we think that sounds awesome, but I think we're missing the he makes me, right? Which kind of shows you didn't want that. Your interpretation, your walk, your will was out on the beach getting a suntan. Maybe your interpretation of what you want to do is being downtown, going to the party, living it up, whatever that may be. But he makes me to lie down in green pastures. Even when we don't want to eat the right things, he's telling us to eat the right things. He leads me beside quiet waters. No, we want to jump on the waves. We want to surf. We want to test the rapids. We want to do everything but what he says to do and wonder why we're in the trouble we're in. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. He does some of these things because of his name's sake, because he's made these covenants. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. But you're still walking through the valley of the shadow of death. Look to your right, dead people walking. Look to your left, dead people walking. The world is dead. They know they're dead. Zombie apocalypse, zombie, dead men, their own songs, dead men walking. How many says that in their own songs? They know it, but we don't seem to comprehend. We stamp religion on it. And because it's religious, it becomes spiritual and it becomes a fantasy island attempt. It becomes a fantasy of not reality. And that's why a lot of people in so-called churches and so-called situations never come out of them, because they're in the fantasy of they're going to wake up one day and be okay, but they don't have to do nothing. And they don't even change what comes out of their mouth. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. Now, the next part of this, people truly don't get either. You are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You're walking through the valley of the shadow of death. No, that's not enough. The rod, what does a rod do? A rod does not pat you on the back. People say, well, you're awful rough, brother. You're awful, this kind of bothers me and all these things, but they don't realize it's life. You don't let your child play on the railroad track. You tell them, please, please come off the railroad track. Please don't get on there. Or if it comes to it, get off the railroad track. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Now we're getting somewhere. Once the rod and the staff have corrected you, now you get to see the benefits of what's going on. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Once you're on the path and you're staying on the path, you're overflowing. Surely, now you're praising him. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of Yahweh forever. But what happens when you stop and get back off that path? The same reoccurring thing. That's why we see people have the same things happen over and over and over. It's just a different person. It's just a different disease. It's just something different because they don't stay on the path. As soon as the path gets opened up to where they can breathe and the rod is a little bit to the left or the right, they start pushing right up against it again. They start saying, I ain't got to keep Torah. I ain't got to keep the Sabbath. I ain't got to do this. I ain't got to do that. And they forget everything that they was brought into. Proverbs 21:21, whoever pursues righteousness and love finds life. Whoever pursues righteousness? But my righteousness are filthy rags, brother. But anybody trying to pursue the Torah, anybody trying to find the letter of the law, all that garbage that they tell you, that's why they never find life. That's why they don't know what they're talking about. That's why they pray for people and they go and die, because they don't pursue and they don't find. Whoever pursues righteousness and love finds life, prosperity, and honor. As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart. Many people know at the end of the day where they're going. Many people know what's happening in their life. Many people know when they lay their head down, they're not right. Why wouldn't you choose life? Proverbs 27:19, choose life and choose it for your family and choose it for those around you. Then Yahweh Elohim formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. The man became a living being. If Yahweh Almighty can take that and turn it into a man in his own image, do you not think he can handle your situation? Do you not think he can help you? Do you not think that he can't stop that? So what's stopping it? Question, is it you? Is it you that has the little faith? Is it you that don't believe? Is it you that just won't take the healing? Is it you that just won't accept the righteousness? I don't believe I have to. I don't believe. It doesn't matter what you believe. There's a lot of people in hell that probably believe they was going to heaven. Well, prove that. Well, read Matthew 7. Many will say to me, many, it don't say a few. I don't see how people get their education. I don't see where they come from other than they have their own demonic way of thinking and their own way of thinking of what they don't want to believe. But you cannot believe the Bible and believe you can do anything you wish and you're going to make it anywhere. Colossians 3, 23, 24, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for Yahweh, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from Yahweh as a reward. It is Yahweh, Yeshua, who you are serving. What? Do what? But I ain't going to keep the law, but I ain't going to work the law, but I ain't going to do this, but I ain't going to do that. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. I believe the Bible, then work at it with all your heart. Believe every word. Believe it. Take it and pray about it and give it to the Creator and say, Father, I'm keeping your Sabbath. I'm keeping your word. I'm going forth, and therefore you shall bless me. Therefore, you shall guide me. Therefore, I need to know the difference between the rod and the staff. I need to know the difference between the highway, the byway. I need to know the difference between the profane, the holy, and the unholy. But most people don't got to. They don't think they got to. They want to read John 3:16, Acts 2:38, on and on and on. The religious goes. It's like a big mixed nuts. Well, I'm going to take the cashews because that's what I like. Well, I like the peanuts, and that's what I'm going to take. And that's what a lot of this is. It's just a big jar of nuts that don't take any time to even pray. All they're doing is passing the plate. I will take your money. And you can tell because that's all they care about is money. Every day, every week, it's like TBN with some of these people. It's like, and don't forget, but those who hope in Yahweh will renew their strength. How can you not renew your strength? Because you don't hope in Yahweh. Oh, you can hope in the J guy. You can hope in some other guy. You can hope in whatever. You can hope your pastor prayed hard enough last night for you. You can hope while you're in the hospital. But it says put your hope in Yahweh. And then he will renew your strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run. Who's the they? Those who put their faith in Yahweh and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. You know, praise Yahweh. We went through a flea market today in like no time. It was like, could have went through 5 of them. And at one time, last year, matter of fact, last year at this time, crawling through the place, sweating and hoping just getting through one pavilion was enough. And today, praise Yahweh. This verse, they will walk and not be faint. Went through the whole thing, was looking for more, standing around and saying, well, what else? What's now? What we do? Because there's that all there is to this place? But last year, struggling to get through it, and sometimes even in a power chair, right? Yahweh keeps his word, folks. All we have to do is understand it, but we have to live it. We have to eat it. We have to resource it. We have to get it down. And for all these other people that Hebrew roots in the way and they're just studying wisdom. They're not finding life. They're ever searching and they're never coming to knowledge. You ever see them? You go to assembly and there's nothing really different. And some of them, sadly, are worse than Sunday church. Their motives, their everything about them is worse than the Sunday church because they don't even have the biblical sense to keep what the scriptures say. At least some scripture, at least something. Well, you know what? We don't push much here, brother. We're not pushy like that Sunday church goings. We have learned that we don't push much. Wow. What do you think a disciple would do? How do you think Yeshua would like that? How do you think he would walk in? What do you think he might possibly say when he walked into your coffee drinking, carrot eating, Bible study, when you will, how you want to say it, whichever word you want to put into it? How do you think he would deal with that? Do you think he'd say, depart from me? Do you think he'd say, you hypocrites? Do you think he'd say, you den of thieves? What's all this stuff you're selling? Oh, that painting's for sale too, and this is for sale. Gee, what have you done here? Have we not learned anything from the scriptures? Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear. This is the biggest thing for people in hospitals, for everywhere, for a bad diagnosis, for anything, right? The first thing that grips them is fear. But the first thing we should say is, Father, help me. And get the word of Yahweh. For I am with you. If he's with you, he's right there. It's amazing. You go to church and they got to like conjure up their God. They got to like do something to make their God appear. Is that really what it says? Is that what this says? No, it says, do not fear, for I am with you. So why do you have to go to church and sing and dance and jump up and down? It's kind of like Elijah, isn't it? Isn't it kind of like Elijah, where he sat back and said, maybe he don't hear you. Maybe he's asleep. Maybe he's away. Maybe he went to the bathroom. Where is your God? Hold on a minute. Give us a 30 more minute power guitar and get some drums and get the emotion just right. And then, whoo, somebody's going to get what? Somebody's going to get out of their words, slayed in the spirit. Somebody's going to speak in this, and somebody's going to do this. And oh boy, when I feel ready tonight. And people love it so. And they walk out, nobody gets healed. Nobody gets helped. Wednesday, they're all horrible. They're all cussing. They're all gossiping. They're all doing the terrible of the terrible. But Sunday, man, they had it all going on. Is that who we serve? Is that how we serve? Is that what really we're about? We're a one day a week type of people? It should not be so. For I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your Elohim. I will strengthen you and I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. He declares his righteousness. Oh, don't boast. Oh, you can't say. Oh, yes, you can. I'm a Sabbath keeper and I'm proud of it. I keep all the commandments and I'm proud of it. I believe if I do what he says to do, I can call upon the Almighty and he will hear me day or night. I ain't got to do a special dance. I ain't got to get a special verse. I ain't got to find a special way. I ain't got to say a special prayer. I ain't got to get a special oil. I ain't got to do all those conjured up things. That's really a kind of form of witchcraft. That's right. It's not just Sunday church for no apparent reason. That's why they say what they say. Look up what they say. Look up what they do. Look up the chants. Look up where that stems from, and you might be ultimately surprised. The thief comes only to steal and to kill and to destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the fullness. When people start talking about death, get away. When people start talking about killing, destroying, and death, get away. It's not of Yahweh. It's not of him. Not of him. I have come that they may have life and more abundant life and have it to the full. John 11:25-26, Yeshua said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The Che. I am. Is there a problem there? Is there a problem with who said what and who's doing what? The one who believes in me will live even though they die. O death, where is thy sting? And whosoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? Well, do you? If you believe this, then what are we worried about? If we believe that we are going to grow old and gray or grow to our time, then that's what we believe. But we can only believe that because he says so. We know if we do what, that's the difference between the Torah keeper, the believer, the Bible person who believes the Bible, whatever they call themselves, and the person who goes to another organization and believes whatever they believe. They believe they're going to live forever because they have one Bible verse. They believe they're going to go to heaven because they have one or two Bible verses. But they skip. They pull out a Bible verse and say, look here, this Bible verse right here proves. You got to put the whole Bible together. You got to put every verse in its rightful order, line by line, precept by precept. A lot of these people are taking verses completely out of context, taking it out and making it a whole gospel, a whole religion, if you will. Well, we, the Great Baptist of Soquel Fields and Soquel, Illinois, we believe on John 3:16. Yes, but what do you believe that means? Well, I believe. Yeah, but what does that mean? Expand. What is the sermon on that? What can you tell me about that? That he gave his life, that who can be saved? Who shall be saved? Those who keep his commandments, those who love him, those who come in covenant. I mean, it's absurd of what we believe and what we let go across. We wouldn't go for that at the boss desk. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to show up and be here 24/7, and I'm going to pay you for $8,300. What'd you just say? You didn't just say what I thought you said. Yes. I'm going to pay you for 3 days, but I want you to be here 7 days. How's that? How's that work? Well, you have grace and mercy, and I'm going to expand on that. And, you only really need this much because you're probably going to be loafing off anyway, and you're probably only going to get that much work done. I know how you people are. No way. Not going for it. We know right there, right? We wouldn't go for that. But somehow we go to religion and we say, looky here, one verse. Well, then why do you have a whole Bible? Why do you have 88 books? Why do you have a book that's that thick if you only need one verse? That's illogical, is it not? That's totally illogical. That's totally absurdity. Well, all I got to do is believe. You don't believe. You don't believe him. He says, do you believe me? If you love me, can anybody finish that? Why can we not? Why do we want to hear this? If you love me, what's it say? I guarantee you it doesn't say do nothing. Just sit down on the pew. Just put in tithes. Just put in this. It says, if you love me, keep my commandments. If you knew Moshe, you would know me. Pretty simple, right? The way to life is through the Torah, through Yeshua. Any other way, you're a robber and a thief. Then Yeshua declared, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. Well, if you believe in him, then you'll do what he says. You can't say you believe in someone and not do what they say. That's just a lie. Oh, I believe, but I don't believe that. I believe, but I don't believe. That's why you have so upside down divorced marriages. People say they believe, but they don't really believe, right? They say they want to do what they want to do, but they don't really do what they say they're going to do, right? So you have these marriages of people that are not kosher, right? There's a good word. The marriage is not really a covenant. The reason because they said I do in the beginning, but nobody really knew what they meant, right? Oh, yes, I'm going to love you and cherish you and do all these things. Yeah. On to the I do part. Yeah, okay, I do. And then they get a year into it, and the only thing that they did was lust. And after that, it's like, well, that whole washing dishes, taking out the garbage, taking care of the kids, that's not for me. I don't like that part. I don't agree with that stuff, right? I don't like that stuff. So then they don't find happiness in their own marriage. So the same thing here. To do what it says to do is where you find the love and the happiness. Shalom. I can do all this, all things through him who gives me strength. These are some of the most common verses, or the most known verses, I guess I should say, that people don't really apply a lot of this to their life. They don't use the che, they don't use it in their life other than when it suits them. So in short, they don't apply the whole Bible, they apply one verse, right? It's like, I'm going to go back and pick up a pay stub from last year and my most important one, and I want to cash that twice. It's like, wait a minute, you done, no, that was last year. Yeah, but that was great. So I want that one again because it was the most, no, you didn't, you've already been paid for that. Yeah, but that was so much. But see, that's what people are trying to do with their Bible. They're trying to take the scriptures and whatever they done at some point in time and say, well, look, I did this one good thing in my life, so therefore you should help me out with this, right? But we see in the prophets and we see with them that, Father, forgive me, I have sinned. Father, forgive me for I've done this. But when Yeshua says, I've done everything, I've done it all, I've done what you said, then he has the righteousness to call upon the Father. Then he has the righteousness to say, I have this, right? So it makes sense that we see what's going on. We can call and say, look, I've been doing all I know to do. So therefore, I need some help. I need this problem solved. Not only for me, but guess what? This sister, this brother, someone needs this help. So help me help them, right? And we know that in all things, Elohim works for the good of those who love him. Right there. I mean, just what I said, basically, right? For those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. And that's for a lot of people too. A lot of these people call themselves preachers and teachers. They were not called. They're not blessed. They're not anointed. And you know it because they pray for people and they die. And I'm not just saying, we know people are going to die. But you don't prophesy and say somebody's going to live and then they die, because then you obviously didn't hear from the Creator. If you heard from the Creator, then you turn to the family and you go, I'm sorry, but I didn't hear anything good about your situation. I think you need to get your life in order, right? And where do you ever hear that? That never comes off a TBN, right? You ever hear Benny Hinn walk up to somebody and go, oh, man, I know you're in a wheelchair, but next week you're going to be absurdity, right? Because it's not truth. But we all know, and we've all heard that's what has happened, right? There's a child on there that within 2 years they was dead. So, I mean, we have to live by the scriptures, or we're kind of playing the fantasy game, and we're letting these people play the fantasy game with our families, with our life. And they're saying all kinds of great things and blowing and waving their hands, but it isn't helping anybody. And do you think Elohim's pleased with that? You think he's really pleased with seeing these children and people being deceived? I don't. Romans 12:2, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what Elohim's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So right there we have it. If we do what he says to do, we know what's going on, right? We know what's happening. We know what is we need to do. It's pretty simple. We'll do a couple more and we'll close it up. Yahweh will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. Yahweh will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. But there's a catch, just like with all things, right? Hey, what does that warranty come with my car? Well, you get the extended warranty, you get 5 years. If not, it's 3 years. If not, 36,000 miles. Okay, now I know. Same thing here. If we don't obey Yahweh, the covenant is gone. It's as simple as anything else. We can see it through the scriptures. We can see it through Israel. We can see it through the people clearly. Hey, don't do what, don't partake of the tree. Don't look at the tree. Well, that didn't work out. Okay, well, don't break the commandments. Okay, we won't. That didn't work out. Okay, well, stop being pagans and listen to Pharaoh and come out and worship me and have a feast unto me. Okay, but you're going to go and do the same things you just did, and you're going to be, and they did. So the problem we see over and over and over is people do not keep the covenant. Yahweh always keeps the covenant. He even keeps it so much that if we keep his Sabbath day, he blesses us. He does things for us that we can only imagine. There's times I know that a lot of people thought, well, that's curtains. It's over. We're going to have to go pick a casket. That's where this is going. I can see it clearly. But Yahweh says, I'll bring you through this. Yahweh says, here, if you only adhere to me, if you'll just, and these are scriptures, right? The scripture says, if you humble yourself, right? Look it up. If you humble yourself, if you repent, humble yourself, and turn to me, I will heal your lands. I will heal you. I will participate. I will go to war, so to speak, for you. I will cast those fears, doubts, and sicknesses away. Yahweh will watch over your coming and your going, both now and forever. That is awesome. The Creator is going to watch over me coming and going. I don't have to watch my back everywhere I go. I know if something happens, I'm going to feel something. Something's going to be about. Now, a lot of people don't believe in things like that. They don't believe the Bible, really. I mean, we get technical about it. Sadly, they don't believe their Bible. They don't believe that they have to do a thing. But we see all over the scriptures what he says, what he talks about. We'll go to Yochanan 8:12 and close it up. When Yeshua spoke again to the people, he said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. If we want the light of life, it's right there. All we have to do is take it. All we have to do is believe it. All we have to do is come and do what he says to do. If we do any other thing, it says we're a thief. And that's where I believe a lot of these people, they're trying to tell you all these secret ways to make it, all these secret things and all these one type verses, but he doesn't say that. He says, you love me, keep my commandments. If you know me, you know Moshe. If you'd have believed what he said, you'd have believed me. But since you don't believe me either. It's a real simple doctrine that even I can understand if we just do what it says to do, right? So until next time, I hope this has helped. I hope it has helped the body. Choose life. There's so many people out there that have so many problems, so many illnesses. And before I go, I found this the other day. It's Ezekiel 16:5. And it says, none I have pitied thee to do any of these unto thee, to have compassion upon thee, but thou wast cast out in the open field to the loathing of thy person in the day that thou wast born. And when I passed by thee, I saw thee polluted in thine own blood. I said unto thee, when thou wast in thy blood, live. Yea, I said unto thee, when thou wast in thy own blood, live, life. So I pass that on to you as a prayer that Yahweh would grant you even more abundant life. And to those out there who are struggling, who are thinking about taking their life, don't do it. Don't take your life. Don't take such a present that people are fighting for. And if you don't believe that, go to your nearest hospital and talk to an elderly or a younger or anyone or a cancer center and talk with those people and let them convince you of how they would love the trade. And you might think you do too, but all these people need you and they need us. So for all those people that have the issue of blood, that have problems, all that, be healed in the name of Master Yahweh, the Son Yeshua, HaMashiach, our Savior. So until next time, may Yahweh bless you. May his countenance shine upon you. May he grant you shalom. Shalom. Thank you very much for listening and for watching.